Hey everyone, thanks for joining me again. If you like a movie with strong actors, well-written characters, a great script, and the actors going back and forth in a very serious movie, then you're probably going to like the 2008 film Doubt. This film stars Meryl Streep and Seymour Hoffman. Streep plays a nun, a very stern and strict, old-fashioned nun who is the head of this St. Nicholas school. Seymour Hoffman plays a priest, Roman Catholic priest, named Father Flynn, who is the parish priest at the adjoining church, St. Nicholas. Also, Amy Adams plays a nun who plays a big part in the story as well, Sister James. So this film features a lot of sparring, back and forths, wonderful, great scenes. So you can enjoy the back and forth of this one, and it's you don't have to see any boxing at all. So the movie takes place in 1964, and Father Flynn, he largely begins the movie giving a sermon or a homily, and that's where the title Doubt first comes into play. Now, in a couple different instances in the film, there's a juxtaposition between the words doubt and certainty. Okay, so it's said in the film, doubt can be a bond as powerful and sustaining as certainty. And it also says, later on in the film, one of the characters says, certainty, it is an emotion, not a fact. So those are some phrases to think of there, but that's one of many, many interesting facets of the story, this kind of parallel, so to speak, between doubt and certainty. So what the film ultimately is about is that Sister Aloysius, played by Meryl Streep, she starts to suspect wrongdoing by Father Flynn. Okay, she suspects wrongdoing, that he may be having a relationship with one of her students who's also an altar boy at church. The character is Donald Miller, and so that's a big part of the story here in the film Doubt. So it's this film, obviously, everyone has heard of the Catholic Church abuse scandal, which goes back, many, many decades, and has been in the news, had been in the news for many years, and it's obviously extremely troubling thing, and that's kind of what this movie is based on. Okay, the Catholic Church abuse scandal, and this is a fictional account of that. So what's really interesting, in this film, there's some scenes that stick out. So one, for instance, is when it shows the different dynamics between the nuns and the priests. Okay, so what really sticks out is when the nuns, several nuns are having dinner, their supper, they're really eating silently for the most part, unless Sister Aloysius more or less calls on them. And they're, drinking milk with their meal, which is fine. And then it shows the parish priests with Father Flynn, and they're eating what looks like a much more expensive and more delicious meal. Like it looks like a big, roast beef or type thing. And they're, drinking, laughing out loud, telling jokes, whereas the nuns are kind of eating silently and not as great of a meal. So there's that difference between the nuns and priests. And later on, there's also, in that same vein, there's, the differences, obviously the nuns being female and the priests being males, kind of the power that, the power in the Catholic Church, ultimately lies with the priests. And their, higher ups, the bishops and going up the chain of command are male. And so yeah, that is, mentioned specifically at one point when it's alluded to that Sister Aloysius tries to find out certain information, and she kind of breaks the chain of command. So that's another interesting dynamic. And there are several scenes in this film that stick out and that are very, very powerful. And the first one happens in the office of Principal Sister Aloysius when she, Father Flynn, and Sister James all have a meeting. Now, they ultimately go in talking about one thing, and then it quickly turns into a bit of a, they're inquiring about Father Flynn and the student and altar boy Donald and everything, with their suspicions. And the acting is just terrific between the three of them. And as I mentioned briefly earlier, Sister James, she's a very naive, innocent, timid younger nun. And she certainly doesn't want to believe or accept what might possibly be going on. And the really intense, heated stuff is between Father Flynn and Sister Aloysius in this meeting. And then later on, the intensity and wonderful acting really gets even better in a later scene towards the end of the movie, when it's just Father Flynn and Sister Aloysius in her office with a meeting. Everything's kind of coming to a head at that point. Now that brings us today to today's vocab word, which is low angle shot. And that is a shot made with the camera below eye level of the actor or actress, therefore exaggerating the size and importance of the subject. Low angle shot, a shot made with the camera below eye level, thereby exaggerating the size and importance of the subject. Now there are two scenes where this is most evident, very unique shots. The first one being that meeting with the three of them in her office. There's these camera shots. They are these low-angle shots, and they're kind of, also kind of diagonally looking up. Very interesting. And those same camera angles happen again a little bit later in the movie when Sister James and Father Flynn are speaking with one another outside, outdoors. And I don't want to give away too much about the conversations because those are big plot points and everything. But again, that kind of low-angle shot from diagonal, maybe focusing a little bit closer on the actors, is used, and it's very, very effective in the serious tone of the movie and showing the characters' emotions and feelings at the moment. So another interesting part of Doubt is that kind of the colors. There aren't many bright colors at all in this film. The nuns are always wearing black, and black hat and gown. The priest, Father Flynn, when he's not at Mass, they're wearing black. Each of their uniforms might, show a little bit of white around the priest's collar. The students are all wearing uniforms, dark colors. The setting takes place in, I suppose it's about 1964. The outdoors, the color, there's not much color. Well, it's fall, leading to winter time throughout the film, so the colors are very, very kind of, pale and dreary and not bright. So, however, I think an important color to point out now are the Father Flynn's robes, his vestments. Now, at that opening homily I had mentioned, he's wearing green, and green is the color of the robe you'll most often see in priests because that's ordinary time. And in the Catholic Church, ordinary time is really the longest part of the liturgical calendar. When he says a homily kind of in the middle of the movie, he's also in green, so it's still ordinary time. Now, in the film's plot, they're talking about leading up to Christmas and the holidays. So at the very end of the movie, and I don't want to give too much away here if you haven't seen the movie, but Father Flynn, I guess this would be his third homily of the film, right at the end, he's wearing purple, okay, a very bright purple. So in the Catholic Church, that means it's no longer ordinary time. Priests wear purple during the times of both Advent, which is the period, normally I believe 4 Sundays, the 4 previous Sundays leading up to Christmas, and also during Lent, which Lent, of course, is the period leading up to the Easter season. But we pretty much know that, with the holidays, that this is Advent. So not only that, with his purple robe, but what makes this unique, I think, is that the purple color, purple or violet color, is used by the Catholic Church during these 2 very important times of the year for to represent penance sacrifice and preparation. So now obviously when this film, was written, it still could have been ordinary time, all depending on what the writer wanted to make it. But I really think there's significance in him wearing purple, because I think it means that, in that time of Advent, he's it represents that his character may be seeking penance, possibly for something he had, for a wrong that he had done, for a sin or series of sins committed. So I think there is, meaning. It's not random, is what I'm saying. It's not random that he's wearing purple at that time. So it's it's almost like when he's giving that last partial homily to the church at the end of the movie, his congregation, it's like, is he kind of, is he confessing something? Is he seeking, forgiveness for his sins? So I think there's significance in that color. But yeah, there's not a whole lot of other, bright colors at all. I think that's part of why that sticks out so much in the film. Also the wind is mentioned a couple times. The wind is almost like a minor character in this film, because, earlier, which presumably in the fall, there's, a big storm and tree branches are knocked down. And, it's remarked about how powerful the wind is. One of, I believe, the custodian says, he's never seen a wind like this. Sister Aloysius, and I'm paraphrasing here, mentions that the winds are changing and that kind of thing. And in that final scene with Father Flynn, he mentions the wind again, that, and that's what wind does. It kind of moves things around, and generally, people don't always have control of it when the wind takes over. So the wind is another character, so to speak. So yeah, as again, getting back to the actors a bit, Viola Davis plays Donald Miller's mother. She's in for a pretty short period in the film, just one extended scene, essentially. Streep, Phillips Seymour Hoffman, Amy Adams, and Davis, they all earned Academy Award nominations for this film. However, none of them won for this film. Surprisingly, Philip Seymour Hoffman's nomination was in the Best Supporting Actor category. I really thought, if he were to be nominated for this film, it should have been Best Actor, because I really viewed his as a leading role. I certainly viewed Father Flynn as a main character along with Sister Aloysius. But anyway, Doubt was not nominated for Best Picture, which was quite surprising. It was just only 5 films were nominated that year, but even that, it was very surprising that it was not nominated for Best Picture. Quite surprising. All 4 actors, as I said before, the acting is tremendous in this film, especially from Streep and Seymour Hoffman. Both are at the top of their games, and their exchanges, between their characters, the very strict disciplinarian of Sister Aloysius, who's sure she's right about things, who I believe mentions about outshining the fox in cleverness at one point in the film. And then you have Philip Seymour Hoffman, another tremendous actor who in Father Flynn, really brings depth to the role. And, you really feel, he's able to change so well his kind of demeanor, and he really feels when, people are probing into him on what might be going on. So the performances are very telling in those regards. There was a real simple metaphor kind of earlier in the film when a secretary brought a cat into the office to get a mouse and stuff, and pretty simple metaphor there of Sister Aloysius, being a cat on the prowl for the mouse of Father Flynn, at least metaphorically speaking. So I think that's most of what I wanted to cover from that film. Again, it's a very serious film with a serious plot and a very serious subject matter. One other thing I did find interesting, and especially in the one scene where Sister Aloysius is speaking to Donald's mother, it's very interesting to me how the perceived problem or issue in the film is explained. They use words like making, may have made advances, concerned, improper relationship, and later on seduced. So I find that interesting that more, I guess you could say descriptive words were not used, such as, you would think the word molest would have been used at some point, either describing Father Flynn or, when they're speaking directly to him. That word is never used, and even more graphic words are not used, and which I found interesting because in some ways that's, could be viewed as, beating around the bush a little bit and not saying 100% directly, like, what the situation with Father Flynn and Donald may have been. But then again, that all kind of leads a little bit back to the title of doubt. Sister Aloysius thinks she's very certain, but yet there doesn't seem to be 100% concrete proof, and that's a big part of the film away. And I hope I didn't give away too much of the plot there, but those are all important points to bring up there. So yeah, just an excellent film. The 2008 film Doubt is totally excellent. When I was younger, I was an altar server at my church. It was a great experience. And so, whether you're Catholic or not Catholic, you you can enjoy this film and the terrific acting just the same. Certainly if you're a little bit older and you went to Catholic schools, when you were a lot younger, there are a lot of scenes, in the Catholic school, and the nuns being strict, and, the students trying to get away with certain things. So that might bring back memories to people who had gone to, Catholic school or similar type schools there. So wonderful film. So let's rate it. Watch it again, or once is enough. For the 2008 film Doubt, for this rating, let me be honest, there's no doubt whatsoever. Definitely watch it again. I've seen this movie probably only a couple times throughout the years, but this is a definite in the watch it again category. I will watch this film again. Down the road, that's one I'd be open to. At most any time. Certainly a heavier movie, you want to be in the, know that you're getting into a heavier movie, no doubt about that. So the 2008 film Doubt, definitely watch it again. So hope you enjoyed the video. Would love to see some comments on the video. Check out my book on Amazon if you'd like. Hope everyone has fun enjoying whatever movies you're going to watch. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you for tuning in, and until next time.